Vedas spring from the Supreme Godhead. Therefore, the all-pervading, transcendent, is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice.
Yeah.
Purport. Yajnartha karma, or the necessity for work for the satisfaction.
Yogyartha karma. Yajna means sacrifice, artha for the purpose of, and karma, fruitive activity. Everyone is engaged in some activity. But what shall be the purpose of such activity? Yogyartha. Yogyartha means simply to satisfy Lord Vishnu or Krishna. That should be the purpose. Yogyartha karma.
We have to work for the satisfaction of the Yajna Purusha, Vishnu. Then we must find the direction of work in Brahman, or the transcendental Vedas. The Vedas are therefore codes of working direction. Anything performed without...
Just like you get license to do some business. Why? The government gives you license to do some business. That means if you want to do business, you must satisfy the government. You cannot do whimsically. You cannot do. This is Veda. One who is law-abiding subject. Similarly, anyone who is following the codes of Vedas or scriptures, he is actually working. Otherwise, persons who are violating is becoming implicated, criminal. Similarly, if we defy the rules and regulations of Vedas or scripture, then we are being implicated, a criminal, for being punished. Therefore, work should be yogyat, for the satisfaction of Vishnu or the Supreme Government. That should be the mode of work.
Anything performed without the direction of the Vedas is called Vaikarma.
Vikarma.
Vikarma, or unauthorized work, or sinful work.
Yes.
Therefore, one should always take direction from the Vedas to be saved.
The same example, as I always cite, that your direction is keep to the right. Then if you don't keep to the right, if you go to the left, then it is vikarma. Your driving is unlawful. You are immediately. Similarly, as soon as we perform vikarma, karma, vikarma, akarma, there are three kinds of work. So vikarma means against the rules. So as soon as we act against the rules, immediately we are bound up by the criminal code. Therefore, if we work for the Supreme Government, Krishna, simply for his satisfaction, there is no vikarma, there is no criminality. There is no criminality. Because ultimately, the Supreme Lord is to be satisfied. So if you work for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, you are not subjected to any criminal law. You are free. That is liberation. God.
As one has to work in ordinary life by the direction of the state, similarly, one has to work under the direction of the supreme state of the Lord. Such instructions in the Vedas are directly manifested from the breathing of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is said, all the four Vedas, namely the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sam Veda, and Atharva Veda, are emanations from the breathing of the great personality of Godhead. The Lord, being potent, can speak by his breathing air, as is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita.
Yes. We should not think how it is that Lord gave his laws through breathing. Because with breathing we cannot speak anything. That means I am calculating the strength of God with my capacity. The Brahma Samhita says, no. Angani jassa sakalendriya vittimanti. Say every part, every limb of the body of Krishna, the Supreme Personality, can act of other limbs. Just like I can see through the eyes only. But Krishna can see through his finger also. That is his omnipotency. Omnipotency means every limb has got the potency of all other limbs. That is called omnipotency. We speak of omnipotency, but you do not know the meaning of omnipotency. This is omnipotency. That by his glance, God created this world by his glance. Sa ukkata, sa asujata, these are Vedic things. So, we can say that how is that? Simply God saw and there was creation. Yes, that is omnipotence. Why do you think in terms of your capacity? That is materialism. As soon as you think of God in my capacity, that is materialism. You have to accept, as it is said in the Vedas, then you understand what is God. Otherwise you cannot. God.
The Lord being potent can speak by breathing air, as is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. For the Lord has omnipotence to perform through each of his senses the actions of all other senses. In other words, the Lord can speak through his breathing, and he can impregnate by his eyes. It is said that he glanced over the material nature and thus fathered all the living entities. So, after impregnating the conditioned soul into the womb of material nature, he gave his direction in the Vedic wisdom as to how such conditioned souls can return home back to Godhead. We should always remember that the conditioned souls in material nature are all eager for material enjoyment. And the Vedic directions are so made that one can satisfy one's perverted desires, then return to Godhead, having finished his so-called enjoyment. It is a chance for the conditioned souls to attain liberation. Therefore, the conditioned souls must try to follow the process of yajna by becoming Krishna conscious. Those who have not followed the Vedic injunction may adopt the principles of Krishna consciousness, and that will take the place of performance of Vedic yajna. 16. My dear Arjuna, a man who does not follow this prescribed Vedic system of sacrifice certainly leads a life of sin. For a person delighting only in the senses lives in vain. Purport.
Yes, this is very important. Very important. Go on.
The Brahmanist philosophy of work very hard and enjoy sense gratification is condemned herewith by the Lord. For those who want to enjoy this material world, the above-mentioned cycle of sacrifices is absolutely necessary. One who does not follow such regulations in living is living a very risky life, being condemned more and more. By nature's law, this human form of life is specifically meant for self-realization in either of the three ways, namely Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or Bhakti Yoga. There is no necessity of rigidly following the performances of the prescribed yajna. Such transcendentalists are above vice and virtue. But those who are engaged in sense gratification require purification by the above-mentioned cycle of yajna performances. There are different kinds of activities. Those who are not Krishna conscious are certainly engaged in sensory consciousness, and therefore they need to execute pious work. The yajna system is planned in such a way that the sensory conscious persons may satisfy their desires without becoming entangled in a reaction to such sense-gratifying work. The prosperity of the world depends not on our own efforts, but on the background arrangement of the Supreme Lord, directly carried out by the demigods. Therefore, these sacrifices are directly aimed at the particular demigods mentioned in the Vedas. Indirectly, it is the practice of Krishna consciousness, because when one masters the performance of yajna, one is sure to become Krishna conscious. If, having performed yajna, one does not become Krishna conscious, Such principles are counted as only moral codes. One should not, of course, limit his progress to the point of moral codes, but should transcend them to attain Krishna consciousness.
Krishna consciousness is transcendental. Moral codes, they are up to material perfection. Of course, one who has not attained material perfection, he cannot attain to Krishna consciousness. Just like one who has not passed his graduation in the university, he cannot take up law course. That is law in India. But one who has taken to the law course, it is to be understood that he has passed his graduation in the college. Similarly, one who has taken